Chapter 1, Shadows over the Rift. A pale ribbon of starlight fractured the darkness, the astral rift, an unstable tear in spacetime whose jagged walls of iridescent crystal glowed like distant auroras. Below, a convoy of unarmed transports drifted through the void, their hulls dented by micrometeoroid impacts and lit by flickering distress beacons. Behind them, the intrepid Dawn hovered, sleek, battle-ready, and burdened with a decision that could shatter centuries of uneasy peace. Commander Alara Vega stood on the bridge's viewport balcony, fingers grazing the cool glass. Far beyond, the rift's jagged panorama unfurled, ancient energies humming at the edge of comprehension. "They're halfway to oblivion," she murmured. A soft chime answered. Tactical Officer Lieutenant Moreno had a sensor update. "Alara," Moreno's voice crackled through the comm, "convoy life support failing in Sector 3. Radiation bleed-through from the rift is worsening." She pivoted, stride purposeful. "Estimate time to critical failure." "Under 10 minutes and dropping." Moreno's tone sharpened. "We can't wait for Council approval." Every eye on the bridge tightened. Supply convoys and mining vessels were the lifeblood of frontier colonies, non-combatants by treaty. Yet no one in the Council chamber was listening to treaties tonight. Alara tapped her comm badge. "Exo-Tan, relay my status to Quran." Her first officer, Commander Jorin Tan, hesitated. "Are you certain?" "The Council's word is law. In this moment, law is condemnation." Alara's reply was quiet steel. "Prepare for the summon." Moments later, the holoprojector in the center dais materialized Elder Quran's towering form. His crystalline skin refracted every hue of the rift behind him, and his eyes, black wells of ageless judgment, fixed on Alara. "Commander Vega," his voice resonated like distant thunder. "Humanity has once again pushed the boundaries we set. Withdraw immediately, or face the consequences of your transgression." The bridge lights dimmed as if recoiling from his presence. Alara squared her shoulders. "With respect, Speaker, those transports carry 80 civilians. Should we abandon them to die?" Quran's gaze flickered. "Your compassion is noted, yet irrelevant. The Elders have decreed no human vessel may operate within the rift's influence. You are in clear violation." He raised a crystalline hand, the projection rippled. "Consider this your only warning." The image vanished. Silence fell, heavy as a graviton pulse. Tan exhaled. "He means to strike us down." Moreno's eyes darted between screens. "We're outgunned. 2 dreadnoughts could vaporize this station in minutes." Alara crossed to the strategy table. A holographic map bloomed, reds marking enemy patrols, gold tracing the convoy's path. "We're outgunned, yes. But unarmed transports can't defend themselves." She tapped a cluster of red icons. "They'll execute the warning. They'll wipe out dozens just to prove a point." Science Officer Dr. Keelan spoke up, voice trembling with urgency. "Commander, the rift's fluctuations are spiking. Extracting those civilians will slow us, if shields collapse." Alara's eyes never left the map. "I know the risks." She turned to the gathered officers. "This isn't about conquest. It's about responsibility. We swore an oath to protect." Lieutenant Miles, Weapons Chief, cut in. "Our orders are to stand down. We'll be branded insurgents across every system." "And our legacy?" Alara shot back. "Another generation of humans too afraid to act?" A low murmur of agreement rippled through the crew. Even Tan's jaw clenched. He glanced at the viewport, where the convoy's lights blinked with desperate persistence. Silence reclaimed the room. Alara inhaled, then spoke with measured calm. "We save them or we don't. If humanity retreats now, we confirm the Elders' decree, that we're unworthy of our own compassion." Tan swallowed. "Permission to propose an alternate?" "Speak," Alara encouraged. "Evasive maneuver through the inner seam. Shields at maximum, engines at red line. We might slip the blockade, rescue the convoy and exit before any Elder ship can lock weapons." Moreno's fingers danced over his console. Probability of success, 30%. Dr. Keelan's cheeks were pale. And if we fail? Elara closed her eyes for a heartbeat. When they reopened, her gaze was lucid fire. Then we go down fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. She tapped her comm badge. Tan, initiate rescue protocols. Moreno, bring shields online and plot the scene route. Miles, prepare point defense batteries in case we take fire. As station systems hummed to life, a uniform hush settled over the bridge. Every officer knew the stakes, humanity's first true test under the Elder's gaze. Elara turned back to the viewport, watching the convoy drift nearer to ruin. "XO," she said softly, "this is our line in the sand." Tan's reply was firm, resolute. "Then let's redraw the map." At her command, the intrepid Dawn glowed with energy, a lone shielded star against a galaxy that had warned it not to exist. And as its engines leapt forward, the rift's crystalline walls trembled, unwilling witnesses to humanity's first act of open rebellion. The intrepid Dawn shuddered as its gravitic drives flared, skirting the rift's inner scene where spacetime quivers like a frightened creature. In the holographic displays, Lieutenant Moreno's route traced a narrow passage through crystalline outcrops and residual energy eddies. "Brace for turbulence," he warned. Commander Elara Vega gripped the railing, every muscle coiled. Before her, a cluster of gray transports drifted, cargo vessels pressed into emergency service, each carrying dozens of civilians. Their lights pulsed a frantic SOS across comm channels. Elara inhaled, steadying herself. "Proceed on my mark." "Mark," Moreno confirmed. Sensors flickered as the ship slipped into an energy cusp. Shields vibrated under radiation shocks, but held. Down in the docking bay, Lieutenant Miles led the boarding party, 6 Marines in adaptive armor, toward the airlock. At his side, Ensign Hera Patel clutched a med kit, her knuckles white. "These people are panicking," she said softly. "I've never seen fear like this." Miles nodded, jaw tight. "Stay focused. We stabilize their life support, then get them aboard." Moments later, the airlock cycled open to reveal a dim corridor suffused with green radiation glow. Civilians stumbled forward, eyes wide, some clutching injured companions. Miles barked quick orders: "Med team, first station. Shield techs, up the line." Patel knelt beside an elderly man convulsing from radiation exposure. As she scanned him, his labored breath echoed through her mask. "Try this," she murmured, inserting a portable field injector. His convulsions eased, and he whispered, "Thank you." Back on the bridge, Dr. Keelan watched the life signs feed across her console. "We've got 48 survivors stabilized," she reported. "Hull capacity can handle 70 at full evac." Elara exhaled a breath she didn't realize she'd held. "Good. Send open bays on deck 3 and 4. She turned as the tactical alert chimed. A grid of red icons bloomed on the view screen. Elder patrol frigates, 4 of them, converged on their position like sharks. Their pulse cannons glowed ominously. "Distance closing fast," Moreno said. 60,000 kilometers and dropping. Elara tapped her comm badge. "Bridge to Miles." "On you, Commander." Miles's voice crackled over the intercom. "There are hostiles inbound. Withdraw immediately after evac. Use every trick you know." His reply was tense. "Understood. We'll clear the bay as soon as they're aboard." In the command center, Miles turned to his squad. "Everyone, double time." They hustled down the corridor, hauling the last stretchers toward the awaiting lifts. On the bridge, Elara's eyes never left the approaching threats. "Miles, do we have time to arm their transports with minimal shields?" "A beat. We can rig emergency capacitors, but it'll take 3 minutes. They'll emerge blinking into the rift." "Elapsed 3 minutes," she said, voice calm but firm. "Then we pull them out." Below decks, Patel finished triaging the final injured civilian, a child with a fractured arm. She lifted him gently. "We'll get you home safe," she whispered, tears misting her visor. As she carried him toward the lock, an explosion rocked the corridor. Metal groaned above them, the lights dimmed. A secondary shockwave rattled the bulkheads. Patel stumbled, clutching the boy. Over the comm, Miles's voice was urgent. "We've taken minor hull breaches from stray fire. Keep moving." Up on Deck 5, Shield Tech Ensign Rocha raced to the generator console. "Command, we've got hull stress at 82% near Bay 3. Illyra's brow furrowed. "Redirect power from non-essential arrays. Prioritize deflector grid around the bay." "On it." Rocha's fingers flew over touch panels. The hum of auxiliary conduits rose in the deck. On the bridge, Moreno frowned. "Energy reserves dipping. At full capacity, shields will collapse in 70 seconds under sustained fire. Illyra, those frigates are ignoring our warning shots." Tan observed, voice low. "They'll open up in 10. She pressed a palm to the console, thinking. Civilians still clambered aboard, every willing soul rushing up the gangplank. "Initiate convoy link," she ordered. "Broadcast my voice directly to their comms." Minutes later, Illyra's comm tone echoed through every transport. "This is Commander Vega. You're entering their kill zone. Once all personnel are aboard, plot a beeline for exit vectors Mark 7 Bravo. We'll cover you. Hold formation." A chorus of affirmations crackled in response. The transport's thrusters flared, shedding the minefield of debris around their hulls. On the bridge, Tan tapped his comm. "They're moving. Shields up in 10 seconds. "Make it now," Illyra commanded. The intrepid Dawn shuddered, as if inhaling deeply. Every deflector panel glowed with steely indigo light. A beat later, the first plasma beam lanced out, 2 shots, aimed deliberately at non-critical sections of the nearest frigate. Sparks danced across its bow, but the alien vessel barely slowed. "Damage minimal," Moreno noted. "They're not backing off." Illyra scanned the grid. "They won't relent unless we force the issue. Arm point defenses, limited engagement. We need to buy time, not start a war." Lieutenant Miles's voice came through, "Done here. Everyone's clear." "Comm," she said, "initiate evac pull." Below, emergency thrusters ignited as the Dawn's tractor beam engaged. Transports lurched forward, shedding the station's gravity well. "Trailers are out," Moreno confirmed. Distance increasing. Just then, the lead frigate unleashed a barrage, energy lances crackled, carving arcs of light through the void. The Dawn's shields flared violently, alarms blared. "Shields at 40%. Rocha shouted. Illyra's jaw set. "Load interceptors," she ordered. "We'll shield the convoy with every drone we've got." Seconds later, swarms of sleek combat drones flitted into position, intercepting the beams. Each explosion bloomed like miniature supernovas, spalling the alien firepower. On the bridge, adrenaline crackled. Tan shouted, "Drones holding, shield stable." Illyra allowed herself a brief nod before turning her focus back to the rift's churning horizon. The convoy streaked toward freedom, its lights bright against the crystalline gloom. A tense minute passed in silence broken only by sensor bleeps. Then Moreno exhaled. "They're pulling back." Illyra released her breath. "Status on convoy?" "All transports accounted for. They're exiting the rift's inner seam." Congratulations and relief rippled through the bridge. Dr. Keelan's fingers danced across her console. "Medics are reporting 5 additional critical injuries but survivable." "We did it." Miles's voice crackled over the comm one last time. "They all made it, Commander. No one left behind." Illyra closed her eyes, her shoulders relaxing for the first time in hours. The cost had been steep, strain on ship and crew, lives nearly lost, but humanity's compassion had prevailed. "Good work," she said, voice soft yet resolute. "Now let's get out before they reconsider." As the intrepid Dawn veered away, leaving the Elders' patrols behind, Illyra gazed at the fleeing convoy. In its wake, hope shone brighter than any weapon. And though the path ahead was uncertain, one thing felt irreversible: humanity had paid its price for mercy, and earned its place among the stars. The intrepid Dawn glided through the rift's outer corridor, its hull scarred but unwavering. Across every human comm channel, Alara Vega's live broadcast, images of rescued civilians and impassioned pleas, had ignited a tidal wave of support. From rust-colored freighters to gleaming frigates, vessels rallied under Earth's standard, forming an impromptu escort fleet. On the bridge, Alara surveyed the display. Dozens of Allied ships blinked into existence, volunteer crews from every colony, merchants turned militants, even a few renegade elder emissaries appalled by their council's dogma. Their thrusters painted streaks of blue in the rift's crystalline dusk. Commander Jorin Tan leaned in. Admiral Shiova of the Orion Cluster just pledged her flagship, the Lionheart. She's eager to engage. Moreno's fingers danced over the tactical console. We've got 18 vessels arrayed in formation. Enemy dreadnought, possibly the Elder's Wrath, is holding just beyond scanning range. Dr. Keelan consulted her readouts. Life signs on the convoy remain stable. Medical supplies are en route, but we risk ambush if we loiter. Alara nodded, voice firm. Then we push forward. Coordinate with Shiova, we strike together. Moments later, a hologram materialized at the table's center, a regal figure clad in bronze and indigo armor. Admiral Shiova's amber eyes gleamed. Commander Vega, these transports represent every human heart beyond Earth. We stand with you. Alara inclined her head. Thank you, Admiral. Let's show them our worth. The Allied flotilla accelerated toward a disturbance ahead, a ripple in space heralding the Elder flagship's emergence. The Elder's Wrath burst forth, its crystalline superstructure refracting rift energies into a kaleidoscope of menace. Beneath its prow hung a ring of siege cannons, poised to rend entire fleets. At Alara's side, Chief Engineer Dr. Yasmin Lorca clenched her jaw. Our power reserves are strained. If we trade volleys, our reactors might not sustain another barrage. Alara met her gaze. We need a breach in their defense grid. Can you give us that opening? Yasmin's eyes flickered with determination. I can overload the secondary conduits, rip a hole in their shields. But the backlash, it could collapse our containment. A hush fell. Tan swallowed. You'd be sacrificing yourself. She pressed a hand to the console. I've devoted my life to this ship. If it ends here, so be it, so long as humanity prevails. Alara's voice softened. I won't send you to your death. Yasmin offered a quick, brave smile. I volunteered. Just promise me you'll finish this. Minutes later, the Allied ships braced as the Elder's Wrath unleashed a volley. Energy lances carved the void, human shields flared, fizzling under punishing fire. Explosions rippled across the formation, rattling alloys and drawing sparks from consoles. Shields at 30%. Moreno shouted. Drones, intercept. Alara ordered. Sleek fighters darted forward, detonating near incoming beams, buying precious seconds. In engineering, Yasmin and her team scrambled around the reactor's humming core. Warning lights blinked red as she ripped open a maintenance panel. Divert all non-essential power to the conduit grid, she called over the clamor. Sparks arced across cables as valves hissed. Back on the bridge, a heave passed through the dawn. Alarms wailed. Containment breach in engineering. Dr. Keelan warned. Alara's heart clenched. Do it now! A pulse of light burst from the rear of the Elder's Wrath, where its shield emitters glowed faintly blue. With a thunderous crack, the barrier shattered, ribbons of force collapsing into nothingness. Their shields are down. Moreno exclaimed. Across the fleet, human vessels surged, weapons blazing. Plasma beams and missile salvos tore into the flagship's exposed hull, sending crystalline shards spiraling into star-speckled emptiness. On the Elder's Wrath, the council chamber convulsed as systems failed. Karan's hologram flickered, then steadied. This is an unprecedented breach, he murmured, voice trembling with ancient fury. Below decks, Yasmin's final transmission crackled through Alara's comm, shields, down. I've done my part. Tell them to stop. Silence followed. Illyra's breath caught. Yasmin. Engineer Lorca has fallen, Tan whispered. Loss confirmed. Illyra closed her eyes, grief and resolve colliding. Honored her sacrifice. Cease fire. She rose and activated a boarding protocol. A pair of shuttles detached from the Dawn, latching onto the crippled flagship's hull. Within minutes, airlocks cycled, and Illyra, flanked by Tan and Moreno, stepped into a corridor awash in fractured light. Crystalline veins in the walls pulsed with residual energy, casting ghostly patterns across the metal floor. They advanced toward the chamber where Elder Quran awaited. The vast room was ringed with translucent pillars, at its center floated a dais of polished onyx. Quran stood upon it, robes swirling around his slender form. He did not appear surprised. Illyra's boots clicked as she approached. Speaker Quran, this rebellion ends now. Humanity demands parity at the council table. He regarded her with centuries of weight behind his gaze. You have shattered our shield, Commander Vega. Yet you have also honored your people's compassion. She held his eye. We defended innocence. We did what you forbade. A low murmur echoed as Quran's advisors gathered, their crystalline voices overlapping in debate. Illyra sensed fractures in centuries-old convictions. Finally, Quran lifted a slender hand. Let this be the new decree, all sapient races stand equal. The rule is rewritten. His voice, heavy with concession, reverberated through the chamber. Outside, a silence fell over the battlefield, no more blasts, no more charges. Then a cheer rose from the intrepid Dawn, echoed by the Allied flotilla. Back on the bridge, Tan released a breath. They've yielded. Illyra's gaze drifted to the viewport. Dawn's first true light pierced the rift, illuminating cracks that once seemed impenetrable. She allowed herself a small, weary smile. We've claimed our place. As the Allied ships gathered around the Elder's Wrath, ready to escort her fleet to safety, Illyra Vega felt the weight of history shift. Humanity's defiance had become its declaration, no longer protégés, but partners, galactic architects of a shared future. And in that fragile dawn, hope burned brighter than any weapon. A gentle hum ran through the intrepid Dawn as its engineering bays glowed amber with repair drones. Outside the viewport, Allied ships formed a protective cordon, their thrusters painting calm arcs in the rift's fading luminescence. On the bridge, the atmosphere was charged, a mixture of relief, sorrow, and anticipation. Commander Illyra Vega stood before the command console, watching schematics of fractured hull plating realign under automated welders. Her uniform bore burn marks where stray energy had skittered across her shoulders, reminders of the cost paid. She closed her eyes briefly, recalling Dr. Yasmin Lorca's final sacrifice. Then she turned to her first officer, Commander Jorin Tan, who offered a quiet nod of solidarity. We've earned more than survival, he said. We've reshaped galactic law. Illyra exhaled. But at what price? Tan's gaze drifted to the holomap showing the newly formed council fleet. Every victory demands its toll. We honor Yasmin by ensuring her work wasn't in vain. A soft chime interrupted them, Dr. Keelan's voice over the comm. Commander, Medical Bay reports 87 rescued civilians stabilized, 35 critical injuries treated. They're asking to see you. Illyra inclined her head. Put them through. Moments later, the hollow table blossomed with faces, men, women, even children from distant colonies, their gratitude evident despite lingering exhaustion. An elderly miner, voice wavering, spoke first. You saved our lives. We'll never forget. We couldn't stand by, Illyra replied, keeping her words steady. Protecting the vulnerable is our duty. A young engineer, her forearm in a sling, added, My son, if your team hadn't arrived, he wouldn't be here. Tears glistened in her eyes. Illyra swallowed. Tell him I look forward to meeting him once we reach safe harbor. The transmission ended, and silence lingered. Tan leaned in. They see us now, not as subjects, but as guardians. Before Illyra could respond, a new image flickered to life. Speaker Quran, flanked by representatives of the Elder Council, aboard a provisional summit station assembled where the rift's currents were gentlest. His crystalline visage seemed less imposing, softened by the gravity of changed circumstances. Commander Vega, Quran began, voice resonant with centuries of restraint. You have proven that compassion need not contradict order. I invite you to join us in the Citadel of Vor for formal negotiations. Elara exchanged a glance with Tan. Under one condition, our delegation includes civilians rescued today. They deserve a voice. Quran paused, then inclined. Agreed. Moments later, the intrepid Dawn undocked, escorted by the Lionheart and 2 human frigates. As they slipped toward the summit station, Elara reflected on how swiftly fear had given way to unity. Inside the summit's grand chamber, an arc of translucent pillars framed a central dais. Delegates assembled, diplomats, scientists, survivors, every strata of Earth's off-world populace. The air thrummed with anticipation. Elara stepped forward alongside Quran. A hush fell. On either side of the dais, elder advisors observed in silent accord. She met Quran's gaze. We seek a seat at your table, not as supplicants, but as equals. He smiled, the motion gentle. Then speak, Earth's voice. A battered miner named Lacera approached. Her voice quavered, yet carried across the hall. We walked the void unarmed, saved by strangers. Our plea, never again shall our fate rest solely on ancient decrees. Let all races share responsibility for one another's safety. Murmurs rippled through delegates. An elder envoy raised a crystalline hand, willing Lacera to continue. We, too, have learned that rules unbending become shackles. Let this assembly be founded on mutual guardianship. Quran tapped a slender staff, and a ledger of new agreements materialized. Shared oversight, all interspecies convoys fall under joint protection protocols. Collective defense pact, no single race may unilaterally enforce war powers in disputed regions. Equal representation, humanity receives full voting rights on matters affecting the Rift and beyond. Elara's heart raced as council members signed in sequence, both human and elder marks glowing briefly before settling. When her turn came, she dipped her fingertip into an iridescent ink tray and pressed it onto the treaty. A gentle chime echoed, the assembly erupted in restrained applause. Back aboard the intrepid Dawn, the crew gathered in the mess hall. Holographic projections of the signed document floated above a communal table laden with simple repast, steaming bowls of spiced stew, fresh bread, and sweet rolls of Vindara, symbols of interstellar fellowship. Lieutenant Miles raised a tumbler of Posterali tea. To Yasmin, whose courage opened the door for all of us. Heads bowed. Elara stood and tapped her glass. She showed us that progress demands sacrifice and that no barrier, ancient or unbroken, can withstand unity of purpose. Let this moment guide every choice we make. A chorus of Yasmin followed, voices strong. Later, Elara retreated to the observation deck. The rift's crystals pulsed in staccato waves, now quiet compared to the storm of battle. Beside her, Tan unfolded a small hollow projector, revealing a memorial plaque, Dr. Yasmin Lorca's name etched alongside the motto in light, "We live." She saved us all, Elara whispered. Tan nodded. Her legacy is woven into this new era. She placed a hand on the projector's cool surface. May every ship that passes through these currents remember her. A distant chime signaled incoming comms. Admiral Shiova's voice filled the deck. Commander, welcome back. Earth stands ready to honor your victory. The President of the Coalition requests your presence for a reception on Luna Prime. Elara smiled, exhaustion and pride mingling. Understood. Coordinate transfer. As her chair hummed to life, she gazed one last time at the rift's shimmering expanse. A chapter had closed in violence and uncertainty, another opened, brimming with promise. Below, the intrepid Dawn prepared for its next assignment, escorting relief convoys far beyond the rift, now under shared escort. In the quiet hum of its engines, Elara heard the echo of a single, unbreakable truth: when a people dared to challenge the star's ancient edicts, they found not wrath, but fellowship. And with that revelation guiding her, she charted a course toward tomorrow, where every horizon held the hope of what could be achieved when diverse voices spoke as one.